I was sharing with some folks in my circle about this upcoming series. And I said to myself, there is a space that people need without judgments and just, freely chat about career confessions and just get it off their chest. So, girl, we're going to hear some career confessions today.
Are you trying to get your shift together?
Welcome to the Shift Sisters podcast, where real conversations inspire real transformations. We're not experts, but we're experiencers. I'm Sandra Sa.
And I'm Jennifer Richter.
We're your Shift Sisters.
Whether you're shifting like a sloth or it looks like you're having an exorcism, this is your space to breathe, reflect, and remember. We're here to talk shift with you.
Well, welcome. Welcome, everyone, to another podcast episode. I have my partner in crime and my podcast colleague, Jennifer Richter, here. And we are continuing our career shift series. And today is going to be a fun one because, I wanted to come on and talk about maybe something that was more official or something about, work related. But this was interesting. I was sharing with some folks in my circle about this upcoming series. And without any solicitation, girl, I was getting a lot of feedback. And I said to myself, there is a space that people need to, without judgments, and just, freely chat about some, what I like to call career confessions and just get it off their chest. So I started to collect some of those. And then I asked a few other people and I said to myself, this is going to be fun. So, girl, we're going to hear some career confessions today. We're going to talk about them, see how we feel about them, like, as it comes up and see if you could relate to them. But this is going to be a doozy of an episode. So I'm glad you're on the ride with me today.
I'm loving it. Career confessions. I'm like, isn't this what we were talking about last time? The gossip and drama in the workplace. I'm like, well, technically I can hear the drama in the workplace this way and not be involved in it. So give me all the career confessions you've got.
Girl, yes. And I think too, it's like there's so many things that people tend to hide with it. And especially if you're a manager, right? Because you're saying to yourself, I can't talk to anybody about this. Like I'm going to have HR on my ass. But this way, it's just an opportunity to just say, hey, I need that space. So at the end of this episode, you're going to ask yourself, what have you thought about and never said at work? So
I don't know if you want to know mine.
I know.
I have too many opinions.
Oh, that's good. This is a show where you're going to share all of them, all of them.
Okay.
But before we get into it, let's do our check-ins and
Please.
see how are we doing. So my friends, what's up with you?
Oh my God. I feel like I don't even know how to explain it. It is the most invigorating and bright energy that is coming out of my chest today.
Wow.
So, I'm super into the universe and to earth and nature. And I'm connected and I definitely don't miss the signs. I pay attention.
Sure.
I'm not even joking, girl, or exaggerating. Since Saturday, right? So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I have had feet from me 4 eagles. Full eagles, girl. Do you know what kind of spiritual messages that is? I mean, that's freaking amazing. And it's they, I have this moon mama energy from my higher self. And literally, I just feel so connected to nature in general, but also to the birds and all the things that I was experiencing yesterday. But to have all these eagles, even right here on my property, right outside my window, I can't, it's such a gift and blessing. It just literally has light shining from my chest. I don't know what that check-in is, but I am so grateful and fueled. And it's it's a great message of higher perspective and really telling me that things are going to give me that view that I'm looking for and the answer is coming. So I feel it. I hear the universe. I'm so grateful and such a blessing to have eagles around me like this.
Absolutely. What strength and power and protection and all the things. And I see the golden light, my friends, as you are sharing all of that, because that's significant. And like you said, people tend to not see the signs.
Oh,
So
girl,
for you,
even on Saturday when literally like this just amazing eagle was full spread, flying over the water to get us stuff. I was at a volleyball game and I can't tell you, there was soccer, there was all these things on the field. It's a park. It's
yeah,
huge. Not one other person paid attention
yeah,
in that whole place. And I'm like, how can you miss this stuff around you? It's so majestic. So I have to look up in my medicine cards later and see what the
100%.
eagle's medicine is. So,
I
anyways,
need to
that's my vibe.
that is awesome. Awesome, awesome. So my vibe, girl, I'm like, it's like 4th of July happening in my guts, and that doesn't sound
Mm.
good. That doesn't sound good. But it's like I have didn't mean for it to sound vile.
Woo! Okay,
But
well, it can go
I
one of two ways.
I have like a lot of like energy that's happening in my
Hmm.
like gut self and like nervous
Which is
energy.
processing emotions.
I guess,
Is your
yes. I
gut.
I
Hmm.
can't like as you, I can't put the words to it and I can't put my finger on it.
Hmm.
And I'm on the cusp of a lot of things in my life, right? And, maybe it's a lot of the anticipatory stuff that's coming with that.
Hmm.
Or I had some caffeine last night, so I know like the caffeine is making me all like jittery, but I'm just in this space of like this
WTF?
underlying kind of rumble. I'm sorry?
Are you in the WTF space?
I guess I'm in some space, and I keep using these damn terms for like diarrhea or something. I just said the rumble, but it's like I just feel this I don't know, this
Well, when there's new
underlying.
information coming in, right, it's
Yes,
a lot to process.
right,
And
right.
it's kind of actually relates to the topic today too, just all the things that you have to process, but or the series really. But with you having all this new information coming in, right? You have to sort it out. Like, where do
Yes,
I want to put it? And how do I feel about it? And what is the
yes,
timing on these things? And our stomach is really what processes all of that stuff. We have to
absolutely.
digest the concepts, digest the new information. And so hopefully you can take some digestive enzymes and
Mhm.
and use some oils and maybe it'll balance it out for you.
Absolutely, and it's that funny energy where it's like, I just wanna shake my body, I wanna, do like, I just like, I have to, like, get it out of my body, so today, um, doing some shaking and doing some the vibrating plate, like, all of that.
Well, like I said, you could be shifting like a sloth, or you could look like you're having an exorcism. So there you go.
Yes,
Prime
absolutely.
example.
It can happen in all ways, all
All
different ends of
forms,
the
my
spectrum,
friend,
so
all forms.
awesome. So let's talk about some sippy sips. And I saw that someone has a very nice looking green. What you got for us?
Okay, look at it.
That's so
Okay,
beautiful.
you're inspiring me to get my shift together here. Hold on. Okay, so this, because I'm all about those minerals,
Yeah, of course.
because with slow detox pathways and stuff like that, I'm working on hydration and remineralizing. This I call the Emerald Shore, right? Like shore, like the beach, because it's got Celtic sea salt with lime, but you can do any citrus and fresh mint. And I
Mhm.
did bubbly water, but you could do still water. But it's got crazy good electrolytes, right? So, like that salt, it provides the magnesium and the trace minerals to help with like the adrenal support. And then I did lime, but I mean, it has some vitamin C. I don't know, like compared to like orange and lemon, how much, but it really like helps lower the cortisol, which is awesome because I think that's the stress
Yeah,
hormone, if I'm not
100%.
mistaken. And then obviously the water helps with the hydration and things like that. But oh my gosh, let me tell you about the mint, right? In the sip. Think about this.
Mhm.
I was thinking today because after listening to the grounded guy, you know, at 18 in health and what that looks like and how intentional he is about what he eats. Like he selects his ingredients for a purpose. And I really was just like, well, I just want to make a fun sip that tastes good and whatever. But then I started thinking about all these ingredients and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, mint actually helps with emotions too, right? Because it's sweeping away that brain fog or like when you feel stuck in a mental loop and you kind of need to wake up. And it does release those held emotions, right? Because they'll give you mint if you're having a stomach
Yes.
issue.
Yep.
So that's where we hold those emotions. And it's just reinvigorating because, like if you were to just smell fresh mint of some kind, it really like alerts you and wakes you up. So I'm like, ooh, look at me. I've got emotional support in my sip and with my oils. So I'm super excited.
I love it, and I love that you put it in your margarita glass. I love that you have the matching green straw. I wonder what the color green, thinking about that too. It's like, what does that evoke? So,
Maybe it's the heart centered chakra or something. Who knows?
girl, we are so woo woo. I love it.
We are woo woo. Man, what's happening to us?
Wonderful. So let's do a check in and the scents that shift us.
Yes,
So you talked about some minty oils, I think, to help support us.
I did. So this is a different mint. It's spearmint, which
Mm,
I do not like when it has to be like in my gum or my toothpaste. I don't know. I just don't,
love it.
I'm not crazy about the flavor,
Mhm.
but I don't mind the smell. And so for the oil, it's totally fine, and I'll take it and put it on my throat because it is actually the oil of confident speech.
Nice.
Okay. And so it really supports you speaking more confidently, not louder, like my children say I do. It
Yeah.
helps you to mean what you say and say what you mean. So I think that's amazing that it encourages like clear and steady communication without that like over talking because of being nervous or uncertain.
Yeah.
And it helps calm the nervous chatter, overthinking, supports self trust. So get some if you have some stuff, especially at work, that you need to talk about or bring up that is maybe just a little uncomfortable out of your comfort zone, I think that'll help.
That's a great tip. And it's important to have your arsenal with you, right?
Mhm.
So you might need
Need
some
the
of the oils.
toolbox.
Yeah, your toolbox. You might need that for calm or as you said, confident speech. I love that we could use all of those things to support us during these career shifts. So,
Mhm.
all right, my friends, career confessions. Let's get into it.
Okay.
So, we're going to engage in some water cooler talk. Just a little disclaimer, these are from other people. These are from other listeners, other folks. This is not from Jen and I, but we're going to have conversations about it. And the quotes that I'm going to read are the actual quotes that the person said. So
Oh.
that is where we are. So let's get into the first one. So the first quote that I have here is, "I don't want to climb the corporate ladder anymore, but I'm afraid that means I'm quitting on myself."
Shoot, I'm instantly like, don't climb the ladder, take the elevator. It's a lot freaking faster.
Oh, I love that. The elevator girl. What does that look like? What does that I,
Yes,
elaborate?
girl.
Say
You
more.
know what? You were not worrying about burning them calories and getting those steps in. You're literally like, let's just hit the button and go straight to the top. I'm
Yes.
gonna stay focused and in my lane and do what I have to get, you know,
Yeah.
advanced. I mean, that sounds weird. I mean, not anything you have to, but you know what I mean. Appropriate
Well,
stuff.
some people,
Yeah,
that
not
might
me,
work.
but you know what I mean.
Well, I think it's also saying like success can look very different. Like I think people, you have this, I want to be a CEO or I want to be, whatever. And sometimes I think you have to make that decision of like, I'm done. Like this is where I'm comfortable and I'm just going to be in this space because you're making someone else a millionaire or, you're supporting someone else's vision or you're doing so. Can you be more? Absolutely. But sometimes it comes at a price.
But then also too, like, what if you just want to be the best damn dishwasher there ever was?
100%.
You don't have, and not everybody has to be the boss. I mean, geez, like how many Indian chiefs do you need, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
there's a supporting role, and everybody's role is really important. So if you find like what vibes for you, like if you are feeling the pressure to try to achieve more just because of society or people around you, if you're genuinely happy with what you do, just be the best at it.
And you know what's funny? Sometimes people equate, I am the best dishwasher to saying, okay, now I become manager. or co-manager or whatever, right? Just
Mhm.
because you're really good at something doesn't mean that the next level up is for you,
Mm,
because
true.
you might struggle. Because I tend to see that a lot where it's just like, well, I accomplished this thing, so now I'm gonna take over the world, and it's like, well, just slow down. Like, you're really great at that, and maybe that's where you need to stay, or you stay in that space and really support the other skills to help you into that next, role. So
Mhm.
this one was an interesting one, and I haven't heard someone say something to the effect of, but I feel like I'm quitting on myself, right? Like,
Mm,
it just lends to the idea of how people are ingrained, their identity is ingrained in their profession,
mhm.
because there's other ways that you're supporting yourself if you're not killing yourself working 12 hours a day. So that was an interesting one. All right, this one is, I chuckled when I got this one. There is no company or organization that is our family. Now, this is a direct quote. If you don't believe me, ask your boss to co-sign your next house or
Mhm.
take custody of your child when you die. I think some places expect us to go above and beyond for the same pay, but we're employees, not martyrs.
Mhm.
I I when I received that one, I was like, yeah, that's toxic positivity, right? Where
Mhm.
like it's like, oh, we're coming together, we're doing all these things. And this is not, if a family's supposed to run this way, that's dysfunctional,
Mhm.
because there's just so many dynamics and there's so many things. And I just feel like that is just something, I can get on board with the concept of a team. Like,
Mhm.
we're a team and we're working together on, winning or
Yeah, but
whatever
don't
you
conflate it with being a family because that's muddying the
right.
waters and it's not accurate and it doesn't have the same meaning behind it. So,
Right. I just feel like I'm like, when I've been in companies that said those kind of words of being a
mhm.
family, I just felt like I was in like this gaslit abusive relationship, right? Because no one's looking out for my good, right? It's the
Mm-mm.
bottom line, and, whatever the objective is. So
Yep.
that was I don't know, something that
Yeah,
just
I have heard that. I think even recently in some corporate companies that are in the news and in the media recently that are like, this company, we're a family. And I'm like, but I also see how quick you are to let go of people in that family
yes,
when you think that they're spilling secrets kind of things.
yes,
Yep.
yes. It's tough. Like, one of my jobs, so, I had my first job when I came out of college and it didn't work out. And then I just went back to a place that I knew, so my elementary school.
Mhm.
And the principal there was my principal when I was a child, and she was a nun. I genuinely love her,
Did you
and
go to Catholic school?
I sure all my life,
How
girl.
do I not know this?
Girl, elementary, high school, even college. It was
Oh, girl, I have
yes,
so
girl.
many more questions.
Listen, this is why I'm
Did they
like,
whack you with the rulers on the hands?
I
I'm
remember,
serious, that did happen to my mother-in-law.
girl, they used to, I remember, I didn't get whacked with a ruler, but they were handsy. I never, it wasn't like I got
Pansy.
slapped. Look, they were just like, you know, if you have to get online, it was a little,
Oh, yeah, they were like that stern grandmother
Yes,
energy of
yes,
like, "Get your ass over here," kinda thing without the ass because, they love
yes.
Jesus, yes.
They love Jesus. But I mean, I never got out of line. Like, I knew exactly where I needed to be. Some of my
Interesting.
discipline comes from that, right? And
What?
girl, yes, and we used to go to church every week. I remember we had to read in front of the whole congregation, and I was like, because I don't know if I mentioned it to you that I tend to stutter.
Yeah.
So I was up there, and I remember just, I couldn't even
God,
get
I
the
would be
words.
nervous too, being damn Elmer Fudd up there.
I
Anyways,
did. It was
yes. Sorry to derail you, but I was just like,
no,
"What?"
yes. Now you know. I went to Catholic school. So she was really like, I loved her to death, but she was also my boss. And I remember to myself saying, I was so conflicted because I'm like, how do I, love someone? Because when she was the principal when my father was sick, and I was
Mhm.
in the school. and she even drove me to the hospital on the day my father was passing, like, she was an angel, really, and then I had
Mhm.
to work for her, and I'm like, "This is really changing the dynamic," like, I could see her saying, "This is a family," kind of setup, but then I'm like, "But but you're telling me, this and that and the other," so
Mm,
it was a very I felt a lot of conflict in that, right? Trying to, like, manage and balance the 2 things, but that was the closest that I ever felt that, like, we're family type, but still, I don't
mhm.
know, I don't know if that's the appropriate thing, especially if you're an employee, so
Interesting.
yes, yes, yes. Girl, this one so someone wrote, "I don't wanna work with millennials or Gen Z," and that was
Mm.
it. Like
I have to say right there, if you are full stop ageism of any kind, then that means you're already closed to learning because
yes.
there's so much to share between generations, knowledge and things like that. That's one of the reasons I love my nature group because it's not like only women over 30 or only teens. Like, no, it's anybody that can connect on this level. But there's so much wisdom to be shared
Yes.
between different generations. Sorry to interrupt, but still.
No, it's not interrupting. I need your, like, opinion because it was yeah. And I know I come from a place of grit, right? Like, I'm that Gen X, like, you stayed outside all day, your parents didn't know where you were, we didn't have cell
Mhm,
phones, right?
mhm,
But I also agree with that, like, I enjoy learning from my team that I have, and also, I love hearing from other generations as well
yeah,
because I can adopt some of those things, right? And right now, I've never been in a space where I'm like, "Oh, I'm this fully actualized leader." No, I'm not. Like, I can always develop and grow. And the thing is, okay, do I align with some of the values and core values? Maybe not.
mm.
But how do you deal with conflict? Like, not every like, it's just it's a lesson, right? And
But how do you, like, positively influence those generations if you are, like, have a barrier or a wall up that you don't wanna let them in, right? It's like the only person you let in, it was the old person, the old lady, the old man that's like, "Get off my lawn, I don't wanna work with the young
yes.
whippersnappers." Like, you let the wrong people into that wall.
Yes, yes, and I know that, like, I can get stuck in my ways
Mhm,
in, like, the patterns that I have and things with certain, systems or certain procedures, and then, when I hear someone else say, "How about this?" And I didn't know we could crack the code, and, and it's coming from folks that may not have all the experience, but they have a fresh perspective, or
oh,
they
yeah.
have a fresh eye, and I just, I feel, when I had that sentence sent to me, I said, "Well, is there anything else to it? Like, explain more or why and all of that." But I agree with you. And I would love to find some sort of resource to share about, how can we communicate better at the workplace, right? Because
Mhm.
you will have different generations and
Well,
things.
I
So,
totally there's gonna be a book that's aligned for that, but I also love Surrounded by Idiots,
mhm.
which is a great book. It's all the profiling systems, which I love because it really talks about the communication styles of a person, regardless of their generation. And
Yep,
I like that book.
absolutely. And I think for this career shifts series, we're going to have some recommendations for books because I do have a couple as well.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many ways that we can help, and I think it's important to be open to learning, right?
Oh, yeah. Learning to grow and change and adapt because everybody's soul needs to grow and no one's perfect.
Absolutely, absolutely. Amazing. All right, next one. Sometimes I dumb myself down to mitigate work expectations so that I do not carry the load because I'm not paid enough for all that shit. How many times have you,
Hmm.
like, just right? Think about it, right?
I have because so I won't say like what position it was because that is not important. But
Right.
I had a boss who was very creative and great at coming up with lots of new ideas all of the time, but she was also excellent at delegating them to the entire staff without actually taking a pulse on everybody's workload and what's realistic and timing and stuff like that. And when you have a boss that is, asking things of you without really like an option to say no or I can't do that or whatever, you get overloaded really quick because you're like, yep, and you just put it on the task list. But there was a time where I wasn't really comfortable, saying no because I was like, how do you say no to your boss? And then I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start asking more questions instead of saying no. And I was like, well, when do you need that by? And how do you envision this? And walking her through the steps of what it would take to produce it and what the outcome was going to be, but through questions, playing dumb. And then it helped her to see like it wasn't going to work the way she thought it was going to be. It wouldn't be done in the timing that she thinks it could be done because of all the other things that, need to happen. And it really helped me to get her to see clearly and then say, "Oh, you know what? Let's just hold on to that idea, or maybe we won't do it, or maybe such and such would be better for it." Because I was like, I don't know how to say no. You're exhausting me and I'm going to throw up. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
it's too much.
Yes. Yes. It is. The boundary piece is so important in all of that because it's, as you said, it's easy for an employee to say, "Yes, I'll take that on. I'll take that on," without any guidance because it's not your vision. You're just
Yeah.
executing on something that will become your vision because there are no guidelines to it. So,
Yep.
what an incredibly smart tactic to give her back the ownership, right? And say, "Hey, how do you envision this? How do you expect me to participate in supporting you in
Oh,
this?"
yeah.
All of that. Oh, I love that. One of my, um, I don't know what if it's, a pro and a con, and it works in both ways for me, is that I tend to take over. So if I see something that is failing, or if I see something that's like mm, just not hitting the mark,
Sure.
I just go in and I don't care what level it is, right? It could
Uh-huh.
be, at the senior level, it could be at the, the
Lower level,
the
anything,
lower, yeah,
entry level.
anywhere.
Yeah.
And because of that, I tend to be in this category of like, well, Sandra can fix it, or and that's where I built this kind of issue for myself now, where it's like it's gonna all kind of fall on my lap now because
Uh-huh.
I took over and I started to, and I'm saying, wait a second, but this isn't what I'm not supposed to be doing. Like, I don't understand. So
Yep, because then you are enabling
yes,
versus an empowering, and I did that for a very long time because if there's not a clear defined leader in the position, then I typically would be like, "Okay, well then I'll just do it because you gotta do what needs to get done." But I've learned now that, with knowing that quality about myself, that my goal really is to empower.
yeah,
And so when I see a situation like that, I also go, okay, I think that this was maybe a mess up or a miss on my end from having a proper leadership to start with in the training department or being clear on what's expected of them. So then I'm going to reel back and I'm going to go, what's my responsibility in this? And if I have to create a new system or a document or a training or an outline so that we can get aligned so that I can train them and make sure those expectations are clear, then they're going to have success. They're going to feel more supported and then we're going to work together better as a team. And then I don't have to take over everything, but then I'm also very in touch with what's going on. So if they need support or further education or tips, then I'm not like, "What? Wait, what are you doing?" I'm already abreast of all of it.
yeah,
So,
yeah, for
it just
sure.
gives me opportunities to learn to be a better leader if I see that they're not leading in the fashion that I really need them to. But I used to just do it all. I'd
Yeah,
say, "Get out of the way," and, like, do it
yeah,
all.
yeah. And it's interesting because what I've also learned is taking a step back with and trying to meet people
Where they are.
where they are, but also in the language that they speak, right? Like,
Mm.
I'm very like, for me, and my team knows this about me,
Mhm.
do not verbally tell me things, right? So, girl, I'm sorry.
I was just realizing that about you, and Adam is the same way. I was like, "Wow, if there is, like, something that you guys have to read, even though it can be said a million different times, it does not hit the same until you
Yeah,
guys read it." I think it's
no.
because 'cause you're, like, readers or I don't
Yeah,
know. That's
girl,
your
it's like, I have one person on my team who comes to the meeting and she's like, "I know you're visual," so I put it out on a chart, and she'll share her screen even though she could just explain it to me, and for others, it would just hit. I think I have so much in my head
mm,
that if you tell me something, it gets in the jumble of all of that,
okay.
right? Because 'Cause I'm always like, but when I see it, it's almost like when you have something in your head and you write it down,
Yes.
it, like, solidifies the concept, right, for me. So, I think it's important that when you're having those moments of leadership and guidance, that
Mhm.
you meet people in the space that, I is home for them, because
Absolutely.
then they become that empowered person, and
Mhm.
it's doing it in a way that really is meaningful to them.
That's even honestly how I communicate in my relationship with Adam and I. If we have something that might be full of emotions or vulnerability,
Yes.
I really need him to hear me. I will actually email him
Yeah.
because not only can he read it multiple times and he can process it in his own timing because I have a lot always coming out. It is so much more productive and healthier for us because we have that space to reflect, space to hear, but he absorbs things by reading it so much differently than if I was just to say it. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, you got to meet people where they're at. Some people just want to go on a walk and talk. I mean, well, not career wise, but like
Yeah.
communication wise.
No, for sure, and, I had a situation recently where someone said to me, "I get the concept, but the delivery really threw me off."
Yes, yes. Because, girl, I got a lot of spicy attitude. So that can
Yes.
really throw people
Yeah.
off because then they don't realize where I'm coming from.
Right.
Because I might talk very passionately, the volume might be at a 10 all the time. Like, that's just my personality. But people, it does have them misconstrue me sometimes.
Absolutely. So, when I heard that from this person, I'm like, because I knew I was in the middle of a situation and I knew kind of the intent on both sides,
Mm
but I get it because I'm also, if you give me the inkling that you're telling me what to do,
hmm. Mm.
it
They
inflames
shut
me.
down. Yeah.
I just like,
Shut that
and
wall or put that wall up, really.
yes, yes, and it just triggers all these things for me, and that's the work that I have to do, right?
Yeah.
Because in professional settings or any kind of, even, with friends and family, there are gonna be times that, you're gonna be corrected or realigned or whatever it is. And it's
Mm
like, "Sandra, where is that coming from? Like, where is that initial, like,
hmm.
kind
Mm
of
hmm.
space to it?" So yeah, so this was a good one.
Knowing you though, and listening to some of the topics that we've talked about, and I don't know, maybe you've reflected on this already, but
Mhm.
I see that would stem from that young Sandra when your dad had passed and nobody was telling you what was going on
Yeah,
and your mom's mourning for 10 years and stuff like that, and you were told what to do, how to feel, how to act, all this other stuff, and you were like, finally at a certain point in your life we're like, no, I don't want somebody to tell me how to dress or how to feel or
yeah.
what to listen to anymore. And so from then on you were like, nope, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, that's a great point because I told you, like, in high school, I just became this, like, "I am my own person,"
Mm-hmm.
and I, like, screamed it from the rafters, and I was doing all these things, and I'm just like, just became super, clear that my boundary is you don't tell me what to do. I make my own decisions and blah,
Uh,
blah, 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 blah. But
yeah. Now you just
you know,
have to like balance it out a little bit.
I gotta tone that shit down, girl. I gotta tone it down.
You're the sneaky spicy. You're the
Oh, yeah.
one that, it's that
Yes.
dish that everybody thinks it looks delicious and savory, and then it hits you after you swallow it. Yep,
Yes.
that's you.
It's so funny. So one of my toxic traits, and I totally accept this, is that I'm pretty even keel and on the surface, right? But
Okay.
if I feel crossed or if I'm gonna come at you,
Mhm.
I don't yell, I don't scream, I don't curse even, but I will get you in the, like, tenderest part of your soul and just destroy you. Like, that is and it's like, I find that I know it, right? It's like, I know that place, and I just, like, laser focus zero in. I know it's a toxic trait, and I know I should talk things out and be but that is
You're like,
my
"This is my ego I'm gonna keep locked up in the basement, but I hope to God this gremlin doesn't come out." I love your
I know.
earrings, by the way. I just noticed them.
Oh, someone really special made these for me.
Someone special. I love that they're, like, the ones, like, in the shape of either a uterus or Texas, I can't tell. Kinda
Oh,
looks like a uterus.
girl, it does look like a uterus.
Hey, and
Or
it's pink, so, like, what is it? Your, like, feminine power. I don't know
yes,
what you wanna call it.
or a rare steak.
We're so gross.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I love my earrings, and I thank you so much for making them for me.
You're welcome.
Alright, let's go to the next one. Women over 40, this is
Mhm.
a direct quote, should have more PTO or accommodations due to the change.
Well, I mean, think I can almost tell you how many different accommodations for each stage of life. Like in the 20s, you're hungover half the time because you didn't plan and you've got dirty underwear on and you didn't do your laundry and you're a shit show. And then in your
Literally.
30s, you're like, I've got a family or I need maternity leave or now they do puppy leave, I think, when you get a I know some
Girl, if
companies,
they do
girl.
puppy leave and they don't do, like, hormonal change leave.
They do adoption things, like, same for maternity leave,
Yes,
right?
yes,
They do
yes.
all these things, and then after 40, like, if you need some, I guess, for, hormonal changes so you don't cut somebody, like, I don't know, but
Girl,
they should have a different ages and stages of grace period things in the departments of
I
HR.
tell girl, it's so funny. I get text messages from women of a certain age, right? And they're just like, "This is bullshit." And they're like, "I am sitting here sweating in my cubicle, right? Because and I'm just sitting here taking it." And there's so for me, my hormonal changes have been intense, right?
Okay.
And I'm trying my best to mitigate it, and I can't explain to you why I'm a little spicy on certain days, or, like, I'm, like, tearing up at everything that's happening, or all of those things, but, when I read this, I chuckled because 'cause I'm like, "Girl," and she was like, "Brain fog, memory loss, mood changes, hot flashes." She's like, "This is a medical condition," and she's not wrong, right? She's
Mhm.
not wrong, and it's interesting to me to think about all the accommodations that are made for folks, right? Like, there are accommodations for mental health challenges, there are accommodations for all of those things, and
You know what the sad part is, though, in all honesty? In the day and age where everything isn't about an assessment and let's calculate how much of a financial impact you're making on the company, all of this goes into consideration too. So,
Mhm.
like, if you're having to take any type of accommodation for any reason, it really does knock you on your performance when they're doing those, okay, what can AI replace? Or
Oh,
is there a younger generation that can do this job 10 times faster? They're gonna take all those things into consideration and actually use it against you, even though they're like, "Oh, we're a family, family first. We'll take care of you." But ultimately, it's a statistic that they're calculating on your secret report card in the background that
mhm.
shows, like, are you really producing for the company the way they want you to? If not, you're not that valuable.
Yeah,
And I've seen people let go because of that.
it sucks
Mhm.
because it's just you work your some people go to school or they do trainings and all this other stuff. You get yourself together in your 20s and 30s, and then you're working in your 40s, and then bam, you're in
Mhm.
this stage and you're saying to yourself, "Am I losing my mind? And how is this sustainable? How do I keep, you know, a paycheck coming in, but also take care of myself?" It is a tough one.
Yeah.
And, I agree. I think that, it's looking at how can you make yourself how can you sustain yourself?
Well, yeah, how can you take care of yourself and still have a good work report card, really?
Yeah, seriously. That's the big one. My goodness. All right. Another is my boss was so unhinged and would ask for tweaks on a report every single week. So I
Mm.
learned to make fake versions of the report and then hand back in the original, which was then praised. It worked every time for the 4 years that I did this. My
So in
goodness.
that book, Surrounded by Idiots, this is the
Uh-huh.
number one idiot, apparently, but he's the one that's in red, this communication energy style where they're so instant and so demanding, and they see red and they speak red, they exude that energy of red, and they're seeing red so much that they don't even see what's right in front of them.
Yeah.
And so that's what this is an example of, right? She learned
Yeah.
how to work the system because he's pretty much just a hothead, you know? And she's like, he doesn't even know what's on the first one anyway.
Right, right. And it's crazy. It's that micromanaging energy, right?
Yep.
And this person learned how to feed the need for control because
Mhm.
truly, if the report that was originally made is fine, there was no reason for it to get tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. It's just, asserting I need to make
To give you busy work and look like I know what I'm doing.
man.
Yeah, that's, what did they call that? Little man complex
The
or short man
Napoleon or
complex?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Napoleon or Lord Farquaad. I don't know.
Girl, the Napoleon complex, that is like I have so many examples of that of like and it's not even myself, it's like when I look at, like, my husband and other friends and I hear some of the things, I'm just saying to myself, "My goodness, how do you combat that when you
Mhm.
have this person that just needs to kind of, show that they have a little bit of, a little bit of something?" It's just
I'm
so
like, and anybody with that, that's when you make them feel like everything is their idea and they're so amazing and they're so smart, even though it's your idea and just to get the job done. But
100%.
that's for another day.
Yes. All right, let's see. I've stayed at this job this long only because it doesn't mentally challenge me and I need a mental break. I also work and take clients from the pool during summertime.
Mm,
So this is her way of preserving herself. And
mhm.
I don't know how I feel like when you think about it, it's like, oh, that's so sad. You're just doing something like you're pushing papers. But is that really a sad thing?
I think it's okay for if it's a conscious effort,
Yeah,
right? Like if you know to like this is just a stage I'm in and I can't handle anything else right now. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it well because I don't have to exude a lot of mental and emotional energy to do it. And when I feel ready to shift into something different, then I will. But it is what it is for right now. As long as it's an mindful and intentional decision and not just because you want to not challenge yourself and take the lazy way out and you're always wanting, everything to be easy peasy. There's no soul growth there.
no.
None
And I
in that
think,
aspect. Yeah.
yeah. And like I've done some crazy shit in the past and I've like left a position once without another job and I was living on my own and living in the city, which, is not a smart thing to do, right? Rent is
Uh-huh.
due and, New York is expensive. But as I've said to you, I always have that safety
Safety
net
net.
from the universe, right? So I immediately got another job and it all worked itself out. But that 6 weeks, it was 6 weeks from when I left to when I started a new role was incredibly stressful and scary.
Mm,
And I felt like a loser. I felt like, "Why did you do this? You had income coming in," but the circumstance was it just didn't align
doesn't
anymore,
happen. Yeah.
and it was affecting my health. Like, I was
Uh-huh.
totally, like, stressed out.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, that's more important than anything else. Like, I could live with someone or, give up my
Well,
apartment.
both things were hard, right? Both things were
Yeah,
stressful, but one allowed space for something new to come in and the other
right.
one didn't.
Correct. And I'm saying to myself, I remember saying at that time, right? I will take anything as long as it had less stress than what I had, right? So
Mhm.
I would have worked at McDonald's. I would have done anything other than what I had just gone through.
Mhm.
And when I read this quote, it reminded me of that time.
Mhm.
And I needed a mental break from all the stress, right? And, sometimes that monotonous, receptionist work, whatever, might have healed me during that time that I needed that break. So when
Mhm.
I read this, I was like, it just took me back to that space of like,
Yep.
sometimes you just need that kind of checkout in
Mhm.
order to find what your passion is really going to be.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, COVID scared me with the layoffs. Currently this person finds herself more detailed and communicative. And she says, I'm not a kiss ass, but everything I do or ask to be included in is to make myself an asset since a more knowledgeable manager is an asset.
This is literally going to tie in to how AI is changing the career paths because this is the same link, not just COVID, but how are you going to make yourself an asset so that people see that you are still incredibly valuable? Because with COVID, so many people had to work from home and all the different situations. And then they realized they could really work on like a slimmer staff. And that same experience is getting ready to like sweep through in the next well, it's already starting.
Yeah.
Actually, it's been starting for the last or been showing up in big companies and everything for the last year or so. And it's going to get a lot more intense over the next 5 years. And I also can't wait to talk about that. But this is huge. Look at Amazon. It's a huge company. Everybody sees in the news how many layoffs they're doing, and it affects every department from the entry level
Yeah.
all the way up to some of the really high level and minuscule departments that people don't even know about. So, yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, how do you position yourself? What should you
Yes.
be doing?
Level up, shift up
What?
a gear.
Yes, exactly. And as you had said about the timing, I think people think it's like so far out,
Mhm.
but there's just it's knocking on our door right now. So absolutely. And when I read this as well, it just made me think of like this poor person has a trauma response. Like the emotional energy that she's putting into it because she's afraid of getting laid off. So
Mhm.
just like naming that too and saying like look at that piece of it, that you're having this emotional response to something because it was traumatic during COVID
Yeah.
and all the layoffs and things like that. So yeah, so that was a hard time.
Yeah.
All right. Another one was when I learned was passed over for a promotion. I was then told I had to train the man they hired instead. I purposely taught him the wrong way to do things. So, pettiness, is it justified in the workplace?
Mm.
That one was, I felt that, right? Because it's one of those things where there's just so many injustices that can happen when it
Mm.
comes to things like this. And, do you take the high road? Mm.
I'm like, that's a hard one because that, like, talk about gut issues and having to process that. Lord, I don't know. I have to say, like, you just have to do whatever feels empowering to you at the time. And if it's training that person all the wrong ways, then clearly, if they're not smart enough to figure it out and that you were doing it the wrong way, then they weren't the right pick for that position, anyways. Um, then there's also the opportunity to take the high road,
Yeah.
and, I think it just It depends on what makes you feel good and helps you sleep at night at the time, because I think
Yeah.
we've all been in different stages where we could have gone both ways.
Absolutely. So my take on this is, this person had no involvement, right, in the inner workings of things. So my take is, okay, you know, I would train this person, but I would make it incredibly uncomfortable for my superiors. And I would just say, hey, can you explain, you know, the reason why this person is in this role and why I wasn't considered? Can you give me more feedback on that? I
Hold 'em
want to get a
accountable.
sense of, the spaces that I need to be trained in or supported in. And that way it's because I also think, people will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. And that's in
Mhm,
all aspects, right? So if it is clear that you're up next for the promotion, but you're, passed over, then how
mhm,
many other opportunities are you getting passed over, right? So
mhm.
having that conversation that's professional, that's direct, and just requesting clarity, I think could definitely help everyone see this person means business. And also, it puts them in this space where they have to explain themselves.
Also, and you're like, since clearly I wasn't a fit for the job, but I'm capable and a perfect fit apparently to train someone for the job. I really want to know what areas disqualified me so I can make sure to let them know that that's the part where they're going to have to shine independently, because clearly I don't have that. Like, what a
Correct.
stupid position to be in. Like, the manager that makes that decision in the first place is already,
Yeah. Correct.
got their
Correct.
head up their butt. So,
Yeah, and I think that's, some of those spaces is where we need to that's where the empowerment comes in too, right?
uh-huh.
Because now, once again, you're not being insubordinate, you're not being rude, you just need a little clarity and you wanted to be clear that, this is how you're feeling about things. So,
Yeah.
there's a couple of teacher friends and
Oh.
one teacher says to me, some teachers are suck ups and clearly do not understand that that will get you nowhere.
Mm.
Not a raise, not a bonus, not a better title, and you could be liked one year and given hell the next.
Mhm. And
So
at the end of the day, I don't think many teachers are fired unless it's a
yes.
really extreme thing,
Mhm.
because currently, I don't think this is going to be the case forever, or especially coming up soon. But in education, they are so short staffed, they'll take anybody that will work in a classroom, because also parents aren't parenting their children's. It's a bunch of wild ass zoo animals that have no home training, and then they'd get no teamwork with the school and the parents together. And so nobody wants to do it. So they're not even going to fire you if you're a suck up, but they're definitely not going to advance you either. They just want a warm body in there. I hate to say it, but that's what public school is. It
Yeah,
really is right now.
it's scary, and it's like, um, it's that, and it's also that inherent need to be liked. Like
Mm,
that is,
I don't have
girl,
that.
like that's something that kind of bothers me. Where
Mhm.
it's like, um, this isn't a social setting. And
Mm-mm.
I guess that's like the Gen X or whatever it is, person
Mm.
talking, because I'm like, this isn't a social setting. You have to, do your work and yes, be cordial, be,
Friendly
chatty,
and professional,
be
but yeah.
friendly, right? But it's like the whole like I'm holding on to the word suck up, right? Like the doing all the things and buying the donuts for everyone and doing all the extra things. It's like it's if you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart and it gives you joy and it's
Then that's
wonderful,
awesome.
go for it, right? If that makes your life a lot easier. But if you're doing it because you're a first year teacher and you're hoping you'll get extra, accolades or a choice of what your classroom is going to be next year, honey, forget about that. Like that's not
Mm-mm.
happening. And I worked in the public school system many years ago, and I remember just feeling like, "Ooh, I feel like a number." Like, I remember just feeling like, it was really tense for me. So
Well, I am lucky to say I have worked in the school system, but it has always been in like the private sector.
yeah,
And I mean, and I have super close friends that work in the public school system. And
me too.
oh, Lord. That's a extra why I don't send my kids to public school after stories that I hear. But I
Yeah.
definitely can say I never felt like a number, and it was an amazing experience, but I can't say that for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing, like, it's challenging because the education system has so much pressure. And
Mhm.
there's and as you said, like, there's not enough teachers and, they're following mandates and they're following, what the curriculum is set for, for everyone. And it's a lot of pressure and I have so much, empathy for that because it's our children that we're dealing with, right? And
Well, it is. It is. And I am a planner, and I've always planned and directed the education for my children, and we have had various forms and styles. And again, in that topic of how AI is changing the career path, part of the career path is education. And that's going to be a huge part of this topic because AI is literally education will not look the same 5 years from now. It absolutely will not. And I have so much to say about that. And I'm so excited that we're going to touch base on it in that episode. But I'm focused on it because of my child.
of course.
What is this education gonna look like? Because it's gonna shift, and I don't want her to just go through what the regular run of the mill is right now and then get out at the end and, like, none of it be relevant anymore because the whole world's changed and you have to adapt.
Right.
So, I can't wait to talk about that. So, all
Girl,
these teachers, you might have to start becoming a suck up because your position really in a couple years might get eliminated, but
it's so
yeah.
yeah, I've seen certain reports on that and I'm just like, what is that gonna look like? I am
Oh, yeah.
so
I've got so
curious.
much to say about that, so I can't
Yes.
wait.
Well, I'm excited about our chat regarding AI, and that is in our career shift series.
Mhm.
We're going to deep dive into that. And
Okay.
I'm just going to read one more before we close up this episode. I had a boss that would come in every day with green juice in tow. We all knew it had tequila in it. Isn't it perfect? It's a
I haven't fallen out of my chair yet, so you can't prove that it's tequila in it,
yeah.
but
You don't really know what's in that cup, right? So I get that. Girl, she must have been a fun boss to work for. Imagine, like,
I don't know, maybe. Some people are gross and sloppy drunks
I
and
know.
fall asleep at their desk or pee themselves, like, who knows what kind of stories this lady had about her boss, but, it's inappropriate and it's really hard. I had a position where um, this company sought me out to come and be a manager for them, and it was an extremely elegant restaurant that was inside of a really well-known museum, and I was super hesitant. I just intuitively didn't feel right about it, but I loved the place and I loved the concept, so I accepted. And very quickly after being there, the manager not only was, yes, drinking on the job, but he was also messing around with people's pay and, I mean, screwing it up
Wow.
so badly to where he could somehow, funnel more money into his own pocket, and, oh, girl, it was ugly, and, of course, me, I'm pretending stupid to try to, get more details about this,
Uh-huh.
and this was a corporate company that managed this, facility. And I reached out to corporate, my higher ups, because he was the general manager. And I was like, this is serious. Like,
Yeah.
he's committing fraud. He is basically stealing from the other employees. And he's like 2 weeks behind on their pay and all this other stuff because of the way he would do all the numbers to benefit him because he has to submit it to HR. And can you believe they said, well, it doesn't affect our bottom line, so
Ah!
and I was like, "You know what? This mother effer's drinking on the job, he's stealing from other employees, and I'm a manager here, so if I'm on the management team and he's a general manager, I look just as guilty, and it
Of
looks
course.
like I have something to do with it, and now that I actually know about it and have reported it and nothing's gonna be done, I was like, "No, this does not align with my morals and character. I'm out." And
Yeah.
yeah, you can't do it.
Oh my goodness. That is
Mhm.
just like that's like a movie right there. All
Yeah.
the things, all the That's nuts. And like, when you think about like the world of the financial like markets, right? So, just the stock exchange and brokers and all of that,
Mhm.
these guys are, having lunch meetings and drinking and doing all the things and a lot worse.
Yeah.
And, some of the feedback that I got was really like intense with some of the things that would happen behind the scenes. And they're dealing with money and they're dealing with, stocks and all this other stuff. It's just insane to me. But
Yep, and
um,
I honestly think all that stuff's gonna get tightened up because everybody's gonna have to start proving their worth in their companies, and companies are always about the bottom line. And
a
if
hun-
you are out and spending money on the company dime for lunch, I bet you that's going to stop,
yep.
right? Like if
Mhm.
you are not showing that you're producing, they're going to start finding ways to find something, a software, a person, be it younger than you or whatever,
Yeah.
that is going to produce. And yeah, everybody has to level up.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Girl, thank you for meeting me at the virtual water cooler and
Yeah.
chatting about some of these things that, people just needed to get off their chest. So I'm glad we were able to make some space for that and to share some of the things that people were thinking but never said at work or just needed, a place to share that. Shift activation for today to come on and to share your anonymous career confession. It could be anything. It could be super unhinged. It could be just a little bit of a like, like a nudge that you're feeling in your gut, whatever it is. Because as I mentioned, I didn't realize how much people needed that space until I started sharing with others what I was doing. And I just was flooded. And I thought to myself, there's something here. I think people need that. So thank you, my partner in crime, for being a part of this. And thank you, everyone.
See you
All
next
right.
time.
Bye. And that's it for today's shift. Thank you so much for sharing this space with us. If you're loving the conversation, become a shifty. Like, follow, subscribe, and most of all, share this episode with someone who's shifting too, or someone who seriously needs to get their shift together.
Do you have thoughts, questions, topic requests, or maybe you're feeling the nudge to collaborate? Visit us at shiftsisterpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. We're so grateful for your presence, your friendship, and your willingness to do the work with us. Because shift happens and we're not meant to do it alone.
We'll meet you back here next time to breathe, reflect, and talk shift.